Hello, this is Mike from Chameleon Theatre, and I am going to give you a summary of the Jules Verne novel Around the World in 80 Days. The story is about Phileas Fogg. Phileas Fogg. Everybody say hello to Phileas. Now, Phileas Fogg is a very rich man who likes adventure and to explore. And so one day he has a conversation with a friend of his and he makes a bet. He says,
I can go around the world in only 80 days because of all the advances and inventions about modes of transportation.
So in 1894, he decides to go around the world in only 80 days to win a bet of £20,000. Now, you have to understand that in those days, £20,000 was a lot of money. And so he has a valet, which is like an assistant, a friend and assistant, whose name is Passepartout. And so he goes with Passepartout and they catch a train and they they start in London and they go all the way down to Egypt, to the Suez Canal. What they don't know is there is a police officer following them. His name is Detective Fix. And he knows that Phileas has £20,000 with him. And coincidentally, there has recently been a bank robbery where they stole £20,000. And so Fix follows Passepartout and Phileas Fogg to Egypt, where he hopes to have an arrest warrant so that he can arrest him. But when he gets there, he still doesn't have the arrest warrant. So he decides to follow Passepartout and Phileas Fogg. So they go by boat to Bombay. And there they catch the train that will take them across India. And of course, Detective Fix is with them. But in the middle of India, they discover that the actual railroad line is not complete. And so they have to get out and find a way to travel those 50 miles through the Indian jungles. And so what do? They buy an elephant. So Passepartout and Phileas go on the elephant through the jungle. And while they're going through the jungle, they see many incredible things. But the most important is they see a village that is preparing to make a sacrifice. The sacrifice of an Indian princess. So they decide to save the princess. And after a daring escape where Passepartout pretends he is the husband and he rises up and he scares everyone, they grab the princess, whose name is Aouda, and they escape. So the three of them go to Calcutta, India. And there, finally, Detective Fix has them arrested. Yes, they're thrown in jail. But Phileas has a lot of money, so he is able to pay what they owe, and they are released, and they continue on their adventure. Then they get a boat to Hong Kong. And Detective Fix is thinking, oh, this is my last opportunity to arrest them on British soil. Because remember, at that time, much of the region they were traveling through belonged to Great Britain. And so if he had an arrest warrant, he could legally arrest them. And so he talks to Passepartout and tells him who he really is and that Phileas Fogg is a bank robber. But Passepartout doesn't believe him. And so then Fix, what does he do? He decides to drug Passepartout. And so Passepartout, wait a moment, stop. Okay, this is a great book, but it's very long. So we are going to do a little fast forward. Yeah, just to get to the end, because this is a long story. So, let's go.
For silly days,
across the Pacific Ocean to California.
they can always bus
The train is attacked by Indians, what we would call Native Americans now. They're all the way to New York. It's really only Saturday. And he realizes that the greatest thing he won was not the money, but meeting Auda, the love of his life. And that is the end of the story.